Lodabar. Your work's not done just because you made it to the palace. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. But you've got a responsibility to help somebody else make it across. Thank you, Jesus. Don't pull up the ladder because you climbed to the top. Don't blow up the bridge because you made your way across. Thank you, Jesus. But reach your hand back down the ladder and pull somebody else up out of Lodabar. Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. That's the name of the Lord. Somebody got to tell themselves it's all right if you got it now. Just hold it for me. I'll be there to get it after a while. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You've got to make up in your mind that what God has for me, it is for me. I might not have it right now. May not get it next week. You might try to stop me from getting it. But if God said it's mine, I want you to know after a while, I'm going to get what belongs to me. Sometimes God got to 90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Welcomes to the Black Love Experience, your Friday morning edition. Welcome everybody out there in the Pioneer Valley, everybody on the internet, everybody from everywhere in the Twitter space. Welcome to another Friday morning edition. Shout out to the legend himself, State Representative Ben Swan, host, architect, creator of the Black Love Experience. I want to shout out Minister Rick Robb for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. with the best in gospel music. All right. Big D's coming up at 10 with mid-morning jazz, great black music, and I'm sandwiched in between two great music shows. Tell a friend, tell somebody Bishop is on the air right now. Rep your city, rep your town, so we can shout it out, okay? Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from, what part of the country or the world. Shout out to all of y'all who are stuck in an airport somewhere. I feel your pain. You know, I had 2 days of trying to get back home from Tennessee. And it's nothing pretty, you know, when you just kind of stuck in a city that ain't home trying to get home. And my understanding is just today they canceled 6,000 more flights. Matter of fact, I spoke to a friend today who was scheduled to travel this morning, and they arbitrarily changed the flight to Monday. No questions asked. You know, not can you fly on Monday? Is that better for you? Just got the new itinerary. Like, yeah, here's your new itinerary. We don't care what was going on. If it was a wedding, a funeral, a family emergency, it really don't matter to us. You know, we just gonna arbitrarily change your flight, and you're gonna leave when we tell you you're gonna leave. That's frustrating, y'all. That's frustrating. So if you never traveled like that, um, you're blessed. You're blessed because that is frustrating. But anyway, I'm back home. Memphis is something, man. I don't like snow and ice and stuff, even though I'm a native New Englander. But I appreciate the fact that we can handle it here on the East Coast. Cause man, I got into Memphis and they shut everything down over little ice, and I'm like, this is nothing. Like in New England, we wouldn't be shutting nothing down for this. And then the airports just canceling planes. They had American Airlines has one de-icer in Memphis, one. So all the planes have to like get in line to be de-iced, which caused further delays and cancellations. Delta had two de-icers. I'm like, man, Bradley Airport would not be canceling no planes over this. So I appreciate the toughness of the East Coast. I appreciate the Four Seasons. The people think it's only cold out here. It's not only cold. This isn't Alaska. It's the East Coast. We get all four seasons. We get winter, spring, summer, and fall. So yeah, though we do get cold weather, we get 90 degrees as well. So we get to enjoy summers and springs and falls, and then we get a little winter time too. Yeah, we get all of that. All of the above. Good morning, caller.
Hey, brother.
Yes, you're on the air. What you want to say?
I want to say that I agree with what you're saying on the air right now.
What do you agree with? That we get four seasons?
We have like 48 hours of cold weather, and boo-hoo, like let's cry our little asses off, right? But like, come on, man, this is like we're lucky so far. This winter has been cool, you know.
Are you from New England?
Yeah, man, I'm up here in Blandford, Mass, man. I'm listening to you like live on the air right now.
Okay, yeah. So we have had a mild winter thus far, for sure. Thankfully, knock on wood. Is there some wood around here? Because, like I said, even though I'm a native New Englander, I don't like all that snow and stuff. But anyway, listen. Tell a friend. Tell somebody. Bishop is on the air right now, and we're going to deal with this black faces in white spaces, how it doesn't change systemic racism. Because so many people, I went down to support and be with the family of Tyree Nichols in Memphis and to attend the funeral. And people are still shocked that 5 black cops did this. Those of us who understand systemic racism understand that when systems and structures are inherently racist, you can put black people in them and it still doesn't change the system. It doesn't change the structure. You will wind up with black people upholding and defending a white supremacist system. I know that's hard for non-melanated people to understand. How are you going to blame racism on black cops beating black people? Yeah, we'll have to explain it to y'all. 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781 is the number here. Jump in the comments section. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. If you're in the Twitter space, put your requests in, and let's have a conversation. Tell them Bishop's on the air. Don't go nowhere. This is I Like What I See by Rhonda Swan. We're coming back on the other side of that to get into our conversation.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. one who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from and hidden, but it just made me stronger and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love, I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me, and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me he came to bring. Oh yes, when I look at a beautiful black woman, that woman.
All right. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to each and every one of you. Good to be back with you. We'll be back on Monday with the spoken word. So stay tuned. Tune in, chime in for that. We've got some dates for you. We're going to announce on Monday. I would do it today, but well, when you get over 55, sometimes you can't retain information like you used to. So I don't remember all of the particular dates, but our Lift Every Voice lecture series is coming up, starting in February, later this month. And we've got Dr. Wes Bellamy is going to be with us. Teslin Figaro is going to be with us. Vicky Irving, entrepreneur, and enterprising trailblazer, who, by the way, went to school here in Springfield at American International College. She's going to be with us, and Dr. Keith J. Motley is going to be with us. Those will be our four speakers, two dynamic brothers, two dynamic sisters, for our Lift Every Voice lecture series, our 13th annual Lift Every Voice lecture series, which is popping off later this month. And so we'll give you all the details of that on Monday. On Monday, we'll give you all the details, and we'll hopefully have out our graphics and flyers and information and all of that, so you can definitely connect to Lift Every Voice 2023. All right. Next week, let me see. Today is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Wednesday, so I will get to be with you guys before then on Monday. But on Wednesday is anniversary for First Lady Swan and I. So shout out to wifey. 32. We're on number 32. So we see Wednesday. We will be celebrating 32 years of marriage. It's a long time, y'all. It's a long time. We popped it off in 91, and we're still rolling. Okay? Still rolling with it. All right. So, let's continue to pray for the family of Tyree Nichols and all of the families that have lost loved ones to state-sanctioned violence. It was a wonderful thing to see those who have experienced the same type of tragic circumstances to show up and wrap their arms around that family and show them love. You had family members, Eric Garner's family, George Floyd's family, Breonna Taylor's family, Tatiana Jefferson's family, Botham Jean's family. They were all there for the homegoing celebration of Tyree Nichols, to stand in solidarity with the parents and the family members of Tyree Nichols, because they too have been where they now are. And it was just beautiful that they took the time out of their schedule at their own expenses and showed up in Memphis to support that family. And shout out to all of them, all of the various activists and faith leaders from all over the country, who showed up to support. Michael Eric Dyson, Jamal Bryant, Tamika Mallory, just so many others who came through. Shout out to my fellow bishops in the Church of God in Christ, Bishop Brandon Porter and Bishop Linwood Dillard, and just so many that came. Bishop Liddell Thomas just came to be there as a presence. Never underestimate the power of your presence. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Just be there. They feel the power of your presence. They feel the support of your presence. So we held a press conference at the historic Mason Temple, the headquarters of the Church of God in Christ, and the place where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his mountaintop speech the eve before he was assassinated. So I, along with Reverend Al Sharpton and Bishop Porter and others, spoke out against this state-sanctioned violence, not only against Tyree Nichols, but against black bodies across this nation, to once again demand change and accountability. Yes, someone just noted there was a police officer in Memphis who was shot yesterday, and he's a member of Bishop Brandon Porter's church in Memphis and the head of his security team. So please be in prayer for that police officer as well. So much going on in this nation. And of course, the question they keep asking me is, Bishop, how you guys going to point the finger at white supremacy when black cops were involved? As a matter of fact, there's one right-wing blogger did a whole video condemning me and Jamel Hill, saying, Bishop Swan and Jamel Hill are out here blaming what he called mythical racism. Mythical racism. Like racism is a figment of black people's imagination. Like it really don't exist. It really don't exist. It's just a figment of the imagination of black people. And me and Jamel are out here stirring up the pot, making up stuff, acting like black people actually don't go through what they go through. Like what we see right in front of our faces really isn't happening. It's like that Donald Trump thing. Forget what you see. Don't believe what your eyes see and what your ears hear. Even if it's right in front of your face, even if it's caught on video, don't believe it. Racism doesn't really exist. It's another thing that's causing that. And so this is what I keep trying to hit home with people is Racism, white supremacy in America is not about a series of individual actions. It's not about he's racist and he's racist and she's racist and they do racist things that affect certain black people. That's true. But that's not what racism is about. Racism is about systems and structures. Racism is about laws and policies and practices embedded in American life that disadvantage black people and advantage white folks. That's why we call it systemic racism. So you can change the people, but if the system and the structure is built to disadvantage black people, to abuse black people, to mistreat black people, it still will work that way even if you have black people operating the system. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Because that seems to be hard for our melanemic friends to understand. It's like if you get in a car, the car is going to operate the same exact way, whether the driver is black, white, Asian, Latino, whatever the ethnicity of the driver. The car is built to operate and function a certain way. The functionality of the vehicle doesn't change because you diversify the drivers. I mean, that's as simple as I can put it. I mean, that's the most basic example that I can use. You know, my car has certain features, and those features will work the way they're supposed to work regardless of who's behind the wheel. You see what I'm saying? And we think diversifying the workforce, putting more black people in white spaces, is going to change the functionality of the space and what it's designed to do. It's not going to do that. It has to be redesigned and restructured. The system has to be changed. The policy, the law, the practice has to change. That's really what, when these white folks get out here talking about critical race theory, that's what critical race theory is about. It examines how race plays a role in the systems and structures of America that disadvantage black people and other non-white folks. It ain't about just talking about racism. It's examining how racism is embedded in the system, embedded in the law, codified into law and policy and practice, so that no matter who you get to operate it or to work in that field, it'll work the same way because it's designed that way. So when we say the system is broken, the system ain't never been broke. The system is working exactly how it was designed to work. Policing was birthed out of slave patrols. Slave patrols were designed to subjugate black people, to keep them in line, and to protect the interests of white slaveholders and landowners. That's what slave patrols were about. That's what American policing, that's the granddaddy of American policing. And not a whole lot has changed. Policing is still designed to protect the interests of white folks, particularly wealthy, landowning white folks. That's what policing has always been about in America. It's the system. And so putting black faces in those spaces doesn't change the system. Putting a white driver behind the wheel of my vehicle doesn't change the way my car drives. Putting a black police officer behind the vehicle of American policing doesn't change American policing. Good morning, caller.
Good morning and God bless you, Bester. I'm glad you're home safely. I was wondering, do you know the name of the doctor downtown Springfield, the flag raising? I don't know if you heard, there was a doctor down there passing out flyers pertaining to our police. I'm not really sure because I did not attend, but I did hear from the community that there was a doctor from one of these organizations, and I was wondering if you had the doctor's name. I wanted to speak with that doctor.
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to take that call. I wasn't at the flag raising, and I'm not a private investigator. 413-736-27, and I'm not sure what that had to do with the conversation that we're trying to have right now. 413-736-2781. I see some of y'all in the Twitter space. We're going to get you on momentarily. Somebody help her find the doctor. We don't know his name, his face. Oh, God. Never a dull moment. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
What's up? Hey, what's up? I'm trying to speak to Bishop.
You're on the air, sir.
Huh?
You're on the air.
Hi. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, what's going on, Mr. Bishop? I was wondering if you was aware of California now hiring undocumented police officers because they need somebody to be police over there in California.
No, I wasn't aware that they were. I wasn't aware they were hiring undocumented for that job.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, they are. They just passed the bill. They'll be hiring undocumented immigrants over there in California. And how do you feel about these immigrants who we know hate Black Americans policing our communities?
Well, here's the thing. I continue to tell people that we do not and never have had a black-brown coalition. If we did, we'd be running many cities and towns across America, including the one that I live in. If we truly had a black-brown coalition, if black and brown people got together and worked in their best interests against systemic racism, we would run this city. No doubt about it. We would run this city if we voted in the numbers that we have, if we exercised the potential power that we have, we would run this city in the best interest of our communities. So there really is no true black-brown coalition. There is, however, a white-brown coalition, because there are many people in the so-called brown community that are anti-black, just like many in the white community. and I'm not going to go into that, but you can go into Asian communities, Latino communities, Indian communities, and they are anti-black, just like white folks, because they want to be in the proximity to whiteness, and they're mimicking white supremacy. That's why, and this is what people have to understand: you don't have to be white to perpetuate the tenets of white supremacy. Okay? You don't have to be white to uphold white supremacy. We got black folks out here parroting white supremacist talking points and perpetuating the tenets of white supremacy. We have to understand that the persistence of systemic racism in almost every aspect of American society and the economy is upheld not just by white folks, but some of our own people play a role in upholding it. And it has been immune to decades of laws and policies that were meant to address them, leaving black people at a disadvantage in education, with less wealth, with poorer health, with a shorter lifespan expectancy. And these disparities reflect systemic racism, embedded into every facet of American society. And that's why I continue to say, and listen, don't get me wrong. I believe it's a good thing for black people to be able to take advantage of opportunities that were formerly denied to them. So don't think that I'm saying you shouldn't hire black people in white spaces. No, if black people are qualified and they aspire to those fields of endeavor, they should be treated fairly. And they should receive opportunities that they are qualified for. So no, it's a good thing when when black folks are able to take advantage of opportunities that were formerly denied to them. What I am saying is simply putting black faces in those white spaces doesn't change the systemic nature of the racism that is embedded in those structures. That takes more than a DEI program. That takes more than diversity and inclusion. Okay? That takes more than this is the first black person to work over here. This is the first black person to run this department. This is the first black police chief. This is the first black fire captain. This is the first black this, the first black that, still working in a system that is structurally racist and does nothing to change the way it disadvantages black folk, even those who work in the system. That's the caveat, because even those who work in the system are still subject to be disadvantaged in the system, because it is systemically racist. Okay? I'm going to get to y'all in the Twitter space. Let me take this call. Good morning, caller.
Hey, how you doing today? Good morning today.
I'm good, you?
This is what you were saying on the radio about this person that was beat up from the cops by police officers. 5 black American police officers beating up on this one person, man. It's very sad. I'm watching television, me and my wife, and my tears came down, I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. And I have my own theory. Everyone has their own theory of what happened here, but I just feel that, they had no reason beating about this person, man. It's very sad to see this on national television in our nation, But I have my own theory,
You want to share your theory?
They took this guy and they beat him up so hard, like he was a dog,
Okay, do you want to share your theory?
You're breaking up a little bit, sir.
I think you're breaking up. I'm crystal clear. Do you want to share your theory?
Yeah, I want to share my comment. I think he must have did something wrong. He's one of the police officers, one of them, and he was one of the best. He had sports, the skateboard. I used to play skateboards in the years too.
No, you say he must have did something wrong to one of the police officers.
Wrong, maybe one of these police officers, right?
Why do you think he did something wrong?
I don't know. I just said maybe he did something wrong, and in the past, probably, right?
So are you suggesting it's his fault he got beat up?
No, that's not his fault. No.
Okay, I just want to make sure that when you say he did something wrong, you're not providing a justification for what the police officers did. So, but of course that's your theory. Let's make sure we understand that's your theory. There's you have no empirical evidence or anything that says he did something wrong to anybody. 413-736-2781. Yeah, because often what happens is people begin to disparage. Somebody said, "Get him off the call." People begin to disparage the deceased, and we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. Let's get HB up in the Twitter space. All right, HB.
Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning.
Family.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good.
All right. I'm gonna try to be quick. I think everybody should look out for the concerns of their own people. I just posted that. Puerto Ricans shouldn't be over here judging or analyzing what's going on over here. Whites shouldn't do that, and we shouldn't do that with any other ethnicity either. We have our own business that we have to take care of within ourselves, and that's true. But we should have to work it out for ourselves. We are still living in America under the system of white supremacy. So no matter what you think you may control, you don't. And as American citizens, we should be able to control ourselves. We should be able to govern ourselves. We should be able to police ourselves if it comes down to that. And it should be nobody else's concern with how we handle ourselves. And I see a lot of people get discouraged when they hear that because of the attempts that we had and, how the whites destroyed it. But once again, the whites got to their position by give me freedom or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death. And honestly, the whites have weakened us as a people. We are broken-hearted. We are disheartened. No matter how much we try to deny it, internally, as a people, we are. So, in order to restore ourselves, we have to get that thorn out of our side. And that thorn is the whites. We have to get it out of our side. And if we're not willing to die for our freedom, then our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, we are in trouble. And we will be back in chains within 100 years. I guarantee it.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. I don't want to see that day happen. But there was a discussion that I was having with someone about when they stacked the Supreme Court to a 6-3 conservative majority. Even before it was 6-3, when it was 5-4, they gutted the Voting Rights Act. I don't have time to go into that lesson, but in the Voting Rights Act, you had a formula. Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act provided a formula that determined what states, cities, towns, counties had to go through a process of pre-clearance, which meant they could not change any voting laws without it being cleared by the federal government. And if they did, the Department of Justice could come in and stop it. So those cities, towns, municipalities would have to have had a history of discriminating against black folks at the voting booth, et cetera, to qualify to be on that pre-clearance list. So you had certain states like Georgia, Mississippi, like, and then even some precincts and towns in the north, some places in New York, other places could not change voting laws without pre-clearance. So it gave the DOJ in Section 5, it gave them enforcement authority to go into those towns and say, nope, you can't do that. Nope, you can't change that voting location. Nope, you can't put a voter ID law in place. No, you can't do this, you can't do that. So the Department of Justice had wide sweeping powers because of the Voting Rights Act. When the Supreme Court had a 5-4 conservative majority, 34 Republican attorney generals, and this is why statewide offices are important. This is why it's important not just to concentrate on presidential election seasons, but the people who hold statewide office in your state. So these 34 attorney generals filed a lawsuit against the Voting Rights Act. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court basically said that the formula in Section 4 was antiquated, and that Congress had to go back and pass a different formula. Otherwise, the one that they're currently using is unconstitutional. So they struck down Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act, which basically nullified the enforcement, because if nobody is any longer on the pre-clearance list, the DOJ has nothing to enforce. So basically, the Supreme Court nullified the Voting Rights Act. That same year, we were celebrating the anniversary of the March from Selma, which was the precursor to passing the Voting Rights Act. And I said, how are we celebrating the March from Selma and the passing of the Voting Rights Act when it's been gutted by the Supreme Court and is no longer in effect? And I said then, if a 5-4 conservative majority could strip away our voting rights, what could a 6-3 majority strip away? And I said it tongue in cheek. But as the caller just said, I think it could be a reality. I said it tongue in cheek. Before you know it, this Supreme Court is going to abolish the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment and have us back on the plantation. That seems far-fetched, but it's still plausible, y'all, whether you believe it or not. And so what the caller said, yeah, some of y'all are probably like, nah, ain't nobody gonna be on no plantation, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, okay. We talk a lot of smack about what we ain't gonna do. It's like Eddie Murphy said when he said, that people be talking about slavery, man. I wouldn't have been no slave. The master would have told me to pick up that bale of hay, and I'd have told him I ain't baling nothing. And then when he pulled out that whip, we'd be like, all right, I'll bale the hay. Just keep back with them whips. We always talking about what we won't do until we're facing the actual situation. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. All right, caller, did you hang up? Good morning. Y'all so impatient. Y'all so impatient. Y'all so, you ain't got nothing to do. You calling the show and listening. Just hold on till I get to you. 413-736-2781. Good morning, caller.
Until I get to you. Hey, good morning.
Turn your radio down.
736-2781.
Caller, you got to turn your radio down.
Good morning. Oh. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Before I ask my question, have you ever thought about running for political office?
No, I'm not a politician. I'm a preacher.
Man, you are fantastic.
I appreciate that.
Every week, your intelligence is off the chain. Your history. But anyway, I wanted to make a comment about 4 issues that I like to see our local politicians make.
Okay, if you're gonna do 4 issues, you got to do them quick, cause you about to do a whole 4-part sermon on my show. Go ahead.
Okay, miseducation, incarceration, genocide, and access to wealth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, those are 4 good ones.
And one other thing, you was talking about racism. Racism is basically about power and survival of white people more than anything else.
Now say that again. It's about, what's that P word you used? Now that is what people need to understand. You know, when white folks are running around here calling black people racist, and we say black people can't be racist, they lose their minds. Everybody can be racist. You have to understand, racism is prejudice plus power. You cannot say that people who do not have power in this nation are the racist. We do not uphold racist systems because we don't have the power to. Appreciate your call. Let me get some more y'all up in this Twitter space. Revi Error. Okay, I think I got it right. Revi, you got the microphone. If I said your name wrong, correct me. Y'all in these special Twitter names, man, I don't know what y'all be saying. Unmute your mic.
Yeah, I was just trying to call in.
All right.
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing?
I'm good. How you?
Pretty good. I'll be very quick and concise. So it says blackface and white spaces doesn't change the system. I do get into white Twitter spaces that not really talking about too much. There's NFTs that we're talking about after police shootings. It's entertaining for the most part, but if you go into these rooms to get triggered and you go in and get on their stages just to yell back and forth with these people, you're not gonna get it. You're gonna blow blood. That's all I want to say, Bishop. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Let me get my man, Untouchable J. Untouchable. You got the mic, bro.
Morning, Bishop.
Good morning, sir.
It is New England.
Yes, sir.
Great state of Connecticut. I'll keep it short. I know you got to get off. To the previous caller, keep your theories. We know Stockholm Syndrome is real, right? So we have a racial Stockholm Syndrome that's been going on in the black community and the diaspora for the past 300-400 years. There's always somebody who steps up and sides with the oppressor, right? And the other caller had a great point. Other groups need to mind their business.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. We're past all that. You know, it's convenient that other groups and races get to step in and say what we ought to do. Well, what you ought to do is mind your business. Because we're cleaning house. It's obvious. We don't stand for what happened. But we know that there is a system in place, right? And conveniently, the system plays into certain, avenues and how to set us back. So we're fighting back. You know, there are black faces in white spaces, and this system still goes on. To your point, there have been DeSantis, Georgia, Florida has tried to change voter laws every time they're trying to put somebody in office.
Well, let me give people probably one of the best examples I can think of to this point. We had a black man as president of the United States of America. That black man appointed another black man as the Attorney General, who ran the Department of Justice. And during that tenure, we had Trayvon Martin murdered, we had Mike Brown murdered, we had Eric Garner murdered, we had Tamir Rice murdered, we had so many extrajudicial murders of black people. And the Department of Justice under Eric Holder did not file any civil rights charges against any of those people who took the lives of black people. George Zimmerman was running around here. They didn't file anything against George Zimmerman. Darren Sanford, the cop who killed Mike Brown, they decided they weren't going to file anything against him, even though they tore the Ferguson Police Department apart and talked about the systemic racist abuses of that department. Yet they didn't file any charges against the cop who killed. This was a black man who was in office and in charge of the DOJ, and they did nothing to bring about justice for any of these families of black people who lost loved ones. That's a prime example of black faces in white spaces and the system of white supremacy still working like it's supposed to work.
Bishop, let me say this. And to the people that don't believe it, because I always see the people that respond under your posts and your tweets and, you know, they claim you're a racist. How come every time we try to stand up for something, a coon comes out of the works and has something to say, i.e. Jason Whitlock?
Yeah.
Every time we have something to say and we're addressing it, or we say we want to deal with our own community and we denounce what these men did or something, there's a coon who has something to say. They come like clockwork. It's like they're paid. So they can't tell me otherwise. I'll land there, Bishop. Thank you again for the broadcast.
All right. Appreciate you. That's real, y'all. And I know that touches some of y'all, because y'all love Barack. We all do. We all love, you know, the brother, you know, the intelligent brother, you know, he's got swag, you know, he made us proud. He made us feel good. Yet and still, the DOJ, the government worked the way it was supposed to work, even though a black man was at the head of it, even though a black man was the attorney general. The system of white supremacy still allowed white folk to get away with taking black lives and not being held accountable. That's what I'm talking about when I tell y'all that black faces in white spaces does nothing to stop systemic racism. And I'm going to land my plane right there. Big D is in the house. She's coming up next with mid-morning jazz and great black music. Lord willing, I'll be back with you all on Monday morning on the spoken word. We'll continue our conversation. I see y'all in the Twitter space. I apologize. I'm not going to be able to get to y'all. Y'all got to hit that request button a little sooner. Stop waiting until I get to the end of the broadcast. All right? All right. I'm going to get out your way until, well, let me back up. Lift Every Voice lecture series. We're going to announce the dates coming on Monday. I told you who the speakers were going to be. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts, 11 o'clock a.m. every Sunday morning. Prayer, praise, and preaching. There is a word for you. It's Black History Month. We talk about black stuff all the time, but we're going to be blackety black during February, all right? So check us out. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you, and so do I. Peace. Blessings.